Hi, it's Toby from Heavyweight MMA. Today with a legend, Mark Hunt, Oceanic fighting legend, man. Fights everything, MMA, K1, kickboxing, boxing. How are you, brother?
Good, man. Thanks for having the show, bro. I appreciate the time.
Man, it's not every day I get to speak with combat sport royalty, and you are that man, bro. You had so many fights against such legends, man. It's really amazing to actually, interact with you.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Man, looking at your career, man, just leading up to chatting, I just went and reviewed a few of your fights and that, man. You've fought such legends over your time. Just a reminder for people that don't know, back in K1, fighting Labana, Hoos, Cepho, Schilt, Krokop, then into the MMA, fighting Vanderlei Silva, Josh Barnett, Alistair Overeem, Fedor, Melvin Manhoff, Junior Dos Santos, Verdum, Stipe, Lesnar, Derek Lewis, Curtis Blade. So many legends in the list, man. It's amazing, amazing career.
Oh, man, thanks, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Man, when you look over that sort of list of legends and all this thing, your achievements are so massive, man, especially given, your difficult upbringing and everything, to then get to the top of echelon of multiple combat sports, man. Do you look at the career and feel like what you've really done, like the heights that you've achieved?
I don't really look back. I mean, to be honest, like I said, growing up as a kid, I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. With my life, I was just trying to survive a troubling childhood. But, God, I always say God is... the Almighty is the one that put me forward to be a fighter and to continue it at my age and still do it. So it's no surprise to me that all the names you mentioned are just names to me. They're not. I don't look at them as any other thing but another person.
Yeah, man. I hope at some point, man, that you do let yourself look back and kind of understand, because it really is like amazing. You talk about your legacy, that you'd like your legacy to be, helping the fighters to achieve what they deserve. But your legacy really is that you've just achieved greatness, man. Like, you've really achieved it already, and anything else you do is just a bonus. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I look at it not like that, but I look at it like I said, I'm still working on making changes. I'm in deep with changes. Like when I go into something, I'm all in. It doesn't matter what it is. So this last battle, I'm all in. It's really good. It's like for me, it's an eye opener, and it goes to show a lot of the depth about prize fighting, not just on the other side of fighting. What also really annoys fighters mentally, especially if they're not doing well. It's the other side that makes them not function well while they're competing. Because I feel a fighter is always supposed to have zero in the mind when they like a blank canvas when they're going to go to perform, and it's like a Picasso work of art when they're in there making work. And, painting a great picture, if their mind is clouded, then they've got other stuff going on, which is not very good. So, the picture isn't going to be painted really good at all. So,
That's true,
that's
man.
how I look at it.
And speaking of fighters and people in general, man, like that have experienced hardship in their life, what sort of advice can you give them from someone that's gotten through really rough times to do great things, man? Like what positive sort of advice would you give someone to moving forward in life?
Always hope. To be honest, it's a big part of life is always being hopeful for the next day. There's the tunnel, the darkness is not always going to be around. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Struggling builds character in a person, and depending on how hard it is, the struggle is for each person, because everyone's the struggle capacity it differs. To be honest, so. And I think the Almighty Lord Himself, for me as a person, I always spoke to myself. Well, I thought I was speaking to myself, but I was speaking to God. I was always asking for help and guidance with my life. Being homeless at 8 in that tree, freezing cold, and the only thing that kept me warm was my fucked up ear, because my stupid father. And looking at into the sky, the pitch black sky with the stars, and in this fucking tree, which I thought was like a massive fort, was huge at the time as a kid. As I go back and I see that tree, it was only a small fucking tree, and I was even smaller, thinking it was going to protect me, and it was huge. The walls up in the tree were high. I was so far off the ground, no one would get me or nothing would get me. And this is how I thought it as a young age, being scared, hiding in that tree. Yeah, so, yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, man. Looking for anyone that wants a good listen, Straight Talk podcast, had a listen to that. Great interview with you, man. Also, you got your book, man. That was a great book. I read it myself. Anyone wants to listen a little bit more about your background, bro. Moving forward, man, you're nearly 50 years old, close to me. I'm 1 year younger than you, bro. So I understand what it's like waking up and training every day and that, brother. But yeah, it's an inspiration that you're looking at getting back in, man. You had a fight in 2022, great result, bro. Afterwards, when you fought Sonny Bill Williams, you looked great in there, by the way. And then afterwards, you said like you're retired, it's finished. What's inspired you to again be talking about bare knuckle fighting and maybe even fighting the legend Mike Tyson, bro?
Yeah, I mean, geez, it seems like I'm older than everybody after you say that. But I'm nearly 50 in March. It's my son Noah's birthday today. He's 7. He's 16 today. But
Nice.
yeah, I'm fighting again because I've got as you know, as probably the whole globe knows, I've got some lawsuits that I'm going to war with against Dana White and the UFC for corruption, malpractice. I've had some crooked lawyers. My former lawyers were crooked counsel. They got paid off, and the case got thrown out. 2 weeks before we were about to throw the lawyers off because we caught the malpractice, the judge threw the case out. So what's so funny is that my new partner, she's seen it all, Fleur, and when she came on board, everything changed because as you know, I'm not a lawyer. I'm a fighter. I'm a prize fighter, and I trusted my former law firm to help me with everything. But they the first malpractice she did was she took 150,000 US, 100,000 US, for a product called the Tarkan, and that was their first malpractice. But it got so much worse, and I didn't realize it, and it was probably too late until I met my partner. What's funny is I said to God, I need help here. I need guidance. I'm in trouble here. I don't know what this is all about. I just thought, this was the right path for me that you've chosen for me with this lawsuit. But in the end, I needed help, and guess she shows up at my door, a beautiful girl that's super smart and it's all about helping me. When I first met her, it was like. She's like, "What's happening with you?" And I said, "What's going on?" She says, and I said, "Ask God what's happening." But then we got a bit further on, and then she showed me what was going on with the law. And she's not a lawyer, but she showed me because she's a very smart person. She's got 4 degrees and everything else, but I'm just doing a doctorate in law. And she showed me the malpractice of these lawyers. It's criminal.
Yeah.
We've found 88 points of her sealing records for them, and it goes to show how when this case started, it was strong, was super strong. Now it's even more stronger because those guys are crooked. They're such criminals, Even to this day, they're still taking advantage of martial artists and fighters and their families. The byproduct of those fighters and their families is fighters that are fucked up that have to go do other things and not get paid what they're worth. It's been great to see the problems. We're just about to file the first filing for the appeal. We got approved in 2 days in the intent to appeal this case. And the Ninth Circuit, the judges have seen all this stuff. I'm pretty sure all the judges have seen this, the problems that these guys have done, and they've seen the criminality and everything my lawyers have done. And for me, it just blows my mind. Like, well, I mean, how much money did you get for you to throw your life away? How much money did my lawyers get to throw their life away? Was it $10, $15 million? Because as to think that I wouldn't be able to see all this. I mean, and they're right. I wouldn't have seen any of it at all unless my partner came along. And like I said, I asked God for help, and He sent me Fleur. So I'm so thankful and glad about where the case is going now. We're about to just like I said, they're in a whole lot of trouble. There's 8 causes of action. Even the Ninth Circuit's made me pro se. Because I can't even trust the lawyers these days. Because I mean, I'm not saying every lawyer is corrupt, but the ones I've dealt with, it just and they Christina Denning, that is the lady lawyer in America, and Brian Boshi. These lawyers They should be embarrassed about themselves. They're a black eye to the American Law Society, and it's a shame. The criminality of the audacity that I feel of these people. The same thing with the UFC, Dana White, these guys, paying them off. I don't have proof that they've paid them off, but what I do is their actions, is my lawyer's actions. And if that doesn't show you that they've been paid off, then for me, seeing a lot of the stuff in the lawsuit and realizing why weren't my lawyers arguing for you? Why weren't they doing the right thing as lawyers? Why were they sealing records from the other side? Why were they doing these things?
Yeah, man.
And my partner goes, Mark, because they're criminals. There was no way they should have a license. So, like I said, I'm still in the battle. It's one battle I'll not give up. At the end of the day, I'm going to close their company down. I'm going to put those guys in jail.
Yeah. Man, I hope it all goes your way and people get what they deserve, Evil people should be, suffering. Brother, back to the fights, man. You talk about fighting Lorenzo Hunt, the juggernaut. It kind of confuses me because you're Mark Hunt, he's Lorenzo Hunt, and you both have juggernaut linked to your names as well. What do you think about him and his opponent, man?
Well, I find him quite funny. He's a funny guy, Lorenzo. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy I met years ago. He wasn't even fighting there, but there's only one name, as a fighter that everyone knows is me, and it's always been. Lorenzo is just. He makes me laugh. He's kind of funny, his character, but end of the day, any of these guys that, especially with bare knuckle, I hit them anytime, their whole face is going to collapse. They're going to have no face. I feel I've got too much firepower and I feel like I've just got too much, I got a mind for fighting. It's, like I said, I've been blessed by the Almighty, even at my age, to still be doing this stuff. And like I said, I never want to be a fighter, and that's like 33 years later. I'm about to look at fighting 3 more times in bare knuckle and moving towards one boxing fight. Like I said, I look forward to fighting, if it comes to fruition, to fighting Big Mick Terrell for the heavyweight title to start with. But, I don't want to mind shutting up Lorenzo after that.
Yeah.
Like I said, they got nothing on me. They got nothing on me.
Bro, like you said, you're the name in these fights, man. And the one I'm really interested in is you're talking about fighting Mike Tyson, man. Similar ages, 2 legends of combat sports, man. This is one that everyone would want to see, man. Like, what are your thoughts on Tyson?
Well, like I grew up watching Tyson. I'm a big fan of how he conquered the world. With fighting, like everyone, we all make mistakes in one way or the other. But to still be on top, it's just great. Like he's an icon of the sport of boxing. Then to share the ring with him to finish my career would be even better. So I watched. When I was working with the USA, I met Tyson and I went to his show in Vegas. It was good to see to watch with all the boys. But yeah, big fan of Mike, always have been. But like I said, I shouldn't really. I don't know what reasons why he'd still be fighting, or it'd be pretty much like the same reason I am, for money. So who knows?
Yeah, bro. You mentioned Mike Tyson. I did some security for him over here one day, and I was just in this car park real close to him, just me and him. I was looking at him. He said these crazy eyes, man. I didn't really want to talk to him. He's a different creature, bro. He just looked so strange to me. There was a weird energy coming out of him, man. I just didn't even chat to him. I was too sort of blown away by the look on his face. Hey, bro. And talking about Tyson, so he was at his peak in the 90s. You were kind of at your peak early 2000s, man. So it's not too far,
Peak?
far.
What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? I'm peaking now, bro. What are you talking about?
You're peaking now, bro, but the peak of your K1 career was the 2000s, back when I was running to the Japanese VCD shops to get your fights to watch, bro. It wasn't so big back in Australia then, right? Like, you had to actually go and seek out the VCDs they were, bro.
Yeah, I know. I started my career here in Australia, in Melbourne, and I went from the Crown to fighting 1,000-seater to the big arenas. But yeah, K1 wasn't well known back then. But we, in Japan, we were like, mega stars. But I think with anything like evolution, my second career came with MMA, to be honest. So I started with K1, to be honest, in Japan, and went on and moved forward. Like I said, I'm nearly 50, like in March, and looking forward to extending the rest of going to a bare knuckle, which is even better. So.
Bro, I followed you since the early days when you were fighting the K1 circuit back home and that. And one thing from the start until now that I'm impressed with is your stamina, bro. Like you just can keep a pace like the whole fight, man. I remember seeing you out there first thing, and geez, this guy just keeps going, man. Like you just keep that pace and keep that little pockets of explosivity, man. What's the secret to that?
Well, I don't know. To be honest, I do. It's not keeping the pace. The way I see it is like I said, I got a mind for fighting. In a car, you got a gas tank. It's here, it's full. You start the fight full. Unless you've got injury or something. But you start here, and normally when you start expending energy, it goes down and down. And there's a line like halfway where you don't go past that. And if you get hit proper, it goes under that halfway line. And the tank. So if you expend more energy while you're in that zone, you're going to go down where you can't bring it back up. So if you just, hang around that middle bit where you don't go over, where you get to under the quarter, where otherwise you go straight down to empty. I've been a few times there where I've expended everything. And it's like I said, that's how I see it with fighting, especially you gauge, and only you know your gauge because you know your fitness, you know this and that, you know what you've been through training camp, if you had a training camp, if you what injuries you have. So you have to dictate where that energy level goes and how you put forward all your energy, expend your energy into having to hurt the other person, or how you work that fight. Like I said, you got to try and work it out in 30 seconds with the fight, and so gauging that fuel gauge as a fighter.
Yeah, man. And the second thing, obviously, your power, bro. Is that God-given? Is power God-given, or is it developed, bro?
It's like I said, I was built for this. God put me here to fight, to be a prize fighter and to change history. So that's why I'm still here, and that's why I'm still doing it. It's I feel it's God-given.
Awesome, man. And on that, bro, any ideas or recommendations or guidance for fighters, bro? People that want to be fighters, what would you say? You said people that want to fight are a little bit crazy.
True.
Apart from that craziness, bro, like what guidance would you give people that they should think about if they're looking at being fighters?
Before you throw your eggs in one basket, because that's what you got to do as a fighter. Before you do that, at least have a couple of fights, see if it's for you. Maybe, because I feel a life of affliction, that's what fighting is, affliction. If you can cope, if you love pain and affliction, well, then your fighting's the right up the alley. And even if you like pain or affliction, you could be a circle, and fighting is a square. If you don't fit, they never fit. So, but if you get everything correct, go ahead and try it. But before you throw everything into one path, give it at least 2 or 3 fights, maybe 10. See if it's for you. Like I said, you've got to do in the fighting of highway, man. You can't. It's either the right side or the left side. Never in the middle, bro. So if you're in half a mind and you're fighting, forget it. You're not going anywhere, bro. So yeah, that's all.
Yeah. True,
oh,
man.
And you've got to get a good team behind you. If you start making waves, you got to get a team to help you proper, because because along with fighting, man, when you get higher and higher, the people around you and the sharks around you get worse and worse. So what I found with fighting in my career is most of the crooked managers I seen, which was not good. So yeah.
So when you say a good team around you mean the guidance, not just the coaching, the people that actually
not just the coaching, not just the coaching, management, lawyers, accountants. Make sure your contracts. Make sure you look at your own contracts. And although you're not a person, that's one thing I should have done in my career is look over the contract myself instead of giving all my trust to a person that has their own interest at heart, that has a mind for their own stuff, instead of you thinking that, now we're boys, it's okay. No, make sure you cross the T's and dot the I's before you go in there, because you could end up like a lot of fighters, man, just sign a shitty contract, man, and there's 5 years of their life gone. You know, like I said, in K1, Alexei Ignashov was one of those fighters. You know, I sat down at the table when I'd won the world title, and it was, I was thinking $1 million US, and back then our money we were really paid in US dollars. And if I got $1 million in American, I would get 2 million Australian, because it was half. Yeah. It was double. Our money was double then. But some fighters like Alexei Ignashov, man, he signed a 6-year deal with 25,000 a fight. I was like, what? Right, and that man, why the hell would you want to fight for that? Because if you're getting 25,000 a fight, half of that's going for tax, and then half of that again is going for your coaching. So what do you got to live on? That's why you got to be smart with it all, to be honest. So fighters not only got to be smart as a fighter, but also on the back end.
And on the coaching side, any gyms that you'd recommend, bro, or any people that you recommend back down Sydney way or Australia way that people should look out for? Because obviously it makes a difference who you train with.
You mean coaching or fighters?
Yeah, coaching, bro.
There's so many. The way I see coaching, man, is if a fighter has a good rapport with anybody, like a coach, then that's the person you should be with to help you grow. To be honest, because if you don't have a good rapport with any of your coaches, then it's no point. Because a fighter will go into war for someone, and he won't dig deep. He'll dig deep if that person he cares about, if his coach cares about him, and he cares about his coaching team. That's the way I feel about it. Like I said, some of the coaches I've had, I went to war for them, and the only friendly face you see when you go back to your corner is your coaches, and then you put all your trust in them and say, okay, I trust this person, and then that's it. Then you'll go all the way for them. There's no I was never a quitter anyway. You know what I mean? But I think every fighter realizes that at some point in life when they're trying to chase the dream and be a prize fighter for life, at the top table only the best sit and only the best eat, and you can only make that table with a good team of coaches and a good team behind you.
All right, man. Thanks for the words of wisdom. I see that you're doing a lot of interviews with us sort of smaller podcasts, bro. I appreciate that you're doing that, man. We're the real fans. We're not doing it for money. Ariel Hawani or these guys, they're doing it for money. We're doing it because we like the sport. We support the fighters. We love you guys that have put your lives on the line to give us entertainment, man. So thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. Best of luck with all your legal cases. Best of luck with your fights coming up, bro. We'll be supporting, and I'll be supporting from Macau, China.
All right, brother. Thanks so much for the time, and I appreciate you having me on your podcast, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Cool. Thanks, man. Cheers.
All right, brother.
Cheers, man. Hey, I heard you mention Larry in one of the podcasts, bro. Larry's a good friend of mine. Have you had much to do with Larry Papadopoulos?
Oh, no. I know Larry from Peter Graham.
Oh, okay.
So, I heard Larry's a good guy, a great coach. I went to see him in the cross. He's got a gym in the cross. So, but I don't really know much about Larry. I just know he's a good person.
Okay, cool. And Lolo's been on the show a couple of times too. He's a good guy. He always talks about you a lot, bro. And we message backwards and forwards. He's always talking about you, bro.
Yeah, Lolo has always been a great coach. Like I said, you got to have a great coach team to help you to go further. Because when you're hurt and you're fucked, as you know, the fighter, there's only one. There's only certain things that can keep you pushing forward, and that's a good coach team. And that's whatever's inside you that makes you a fighter or makes you what you are.
Yeah, cool. All right, man. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks for being on time and everything too. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
All right, see you, mate. Bye.